Okay, so we've been through the whole gamut of creating products, authenticating, price books, hierarchies, automated file ingestion to create products automatically, and then creating and publishing catalogs. I want to start the next series of a little more advanced topics. And the first advanced topic I want to talk about is creating product variations. So, these electric ranges typically come in stainless steel or white or whatever, right? And so those would be examples of finish variations. So the variation would be finish, and then the options within that variation would be, say, white or stainless steel or black, maybe. And so to do that, we want to create, get rid of that so I can show you. To do it in the UI, we go into configurations, and we go to variations, and we say we want to add a variation, and it's fairly straightforward. We say we want the variation to be called finish. And next. And now we want to create options within that finish. So when add a finish option, it would be, say, white. White finish, add option. Let's add another, let's say stainless steel. This will finish. Okay. So we've created these options. In the point is you apply a variation to a product, and then from there you can build children for that product. But when you build the children, it's going to basically create a new product that's related to the parent via the variation option. So there'll be a parent product, say the 30-inch best ever range and white, and then the 30-inch best ever range in stainless. It's going to create two new products that are going to inherit the data from the parent. But one of the things we need to allow for is the fact that it's going to create a unique SKU with a unique slug. And so we want to tell the platform how to do that. So we do that by creating an option modification. So let's edit modifiers for this white one. And our options are the things that you could change the name, you could change the description, the SKU, the slug, the commodity type, etc. Let's say SKU, and we're going to do an append. So we're going to take the SKU of the parent, and we're going to append some data. So since I'm modifying the white option, I'm going to say add a dash white to that. And so that will create a unique SKU. Now let's do the same thing for slug. Slug, append. We could prepend, put at the beginning, say white 30-inch best ever. Or since we only have one option, we could say, give it this value. Say you want the SKU to be the UPC or some other manufacturer product code that you know specifically. You could put that in there, right? And so then let's do the same thing for stainless steel. Edit modifiers for stainless steel. SKU, append, stainless, save, add modifier, slug, append, dash, stainless. Okay. So we've created a variation called finish. We've created two options, white and stainless steel, and we've created the variation of the option modifier so that we can when it builds the children, it will build those unique products. So let's go back to products. Let's pick the best ever range, go to variations. Now we actually have a variation we can associate. So let's say pick finish. And you see the options here are white and stainless steel. Associate that to the product. Basically, that's calling the relationship endpoint. And then under child products, I haven't created those yet. So let's rebuild child products. So it's going to take those variations. You see it takes the parent SKU and creates the same SKU dash white dash stainless. Okay. So let's show you how to do the same thing through the API. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to configurations, variations, and I'm going to delete this so I can just create another one just like it. Oh, it's currently in use. Go back. You can tell here, you see you've got the parent product and you have the two children that were created. Let's go back in here, variations, and then let's hit delete, finish, and then child products, and we build children. Oh, I have to delete the children individually, that's right. Okay, there we go, all cleaned up. Okay, so in the API, we're going to call the PCM variations endpoint. Again, we're going to use the client authentication method. And excuse me, really very quite simple. The data type is product variation, and the only attribute we have is called finish. So let me first get a token. Send. All right, go back. And when it send, what this does is it creates the variation, and then it gets the ID, and as you can imagine, it stores it in the variation ID field so that we can add options to it. Right, so we'll close that. And we're going to call the variations, and then that ID we just created slash options endpoint. And we're going to say, I want the name of the attribute to be white and the description to be white. Right? Then we're going to store that option ID into an option ID because we got to come back and add those modifiers. So let's send. So that's created. Now, that. And we can add variation ID, option ID. And so now we're going to add modifiers to that option ID. And so we're going to do a slug append, and we're going to add dash white. And we're going to do the same thing to SKU append, add it to the option. Then once you've created the variation, you can take that, say you have a line of ranges and they all have the same exact finish variations. You can use that one variation and assign that to all those parents. So that when you add, say, Harvest Gold, you want to add that to all your versions, and then just rebuild the products, and then you'll create those extra children. Oh, what? Modifier type is not unique. Slug append, SKU append. All right, let's look at this. What have I done? Variations. Oh, I never. Wait a second. So this is the first one. No. That's the new one. So let's skew append, slug append. Interesting. All right, so let's do get and see what modifiers are there. Oh, somehow it was already run. Maybe I double clicked it. Okay. Finish options. Edit modifiers. There they are. Okay. All right. So we've been there. Now, let's close that without saving it. Now that you have your variation, you want to add that to your product. So the PCM product ID has a relationship endpoint called variations. And this is an array, so because you can have size, color, width, new, used, all kinds of different modifiers or options. And so variations, so excuse me, these all confused. All these different variations and add them all to a product, and it creates kind of a layered product. So you have 4 variations and four options on variation A and 4 options on variation B. It'll create all 8 products. All right. So we'll assign that, and it gives me just a 2 of 4, saying that it's all groovy. Then if we do this and say, let's just duplicate it so that we can make it real. And so now you want to rename it. Rename this to say create products. This, just slash build, and we'll drop the data. None. Save. Send. Unsupported. It's got to be JSON, but it's got to be empty. Must be sent. Right, so this creates a job because based on all the variations and options available, it can be thousands of child products it has to create. So it initiates a job. But if we get back to products, those should already be there. So we created a white child product from that LG, which was the last product we had added. All right. So let's see how we can do the same thing via a file. So let's go ahead and close this. Save that. And if you remember, we can, let's go. Oh, no, this is right. No, I want to do this. All right. Sorry. Delete this. Then go on to go to configurations, variations. I'm going to delete this just so that we have a clean slate here, so you can see what's going on. One or more variations are currently in use. Variations. Sweet. All right, all clean. All right, So we're going to create this finish. So let's go ahead and run this one. Then we're going to, like we did when we created products, we're going to hit run. We're going to select a file. Demo. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Sample data finishes. What I've done, preview it. I created a finish label, which is basically the proper case version, and then the finish name, which is the lowercase version with underscores for the spaces, because skews and slugs don't allow spaces, and that's this. But we don't want to create the new variation every time. We just want to create the options. So let's uncheck this, and then we're going to run those, create the variation option, and then add the skew and slug append, and go attributes, and then come back. Maybe hard refresh. There we go. Finish. Options. We have all those options. So we then go and add that to this LG, associate variation, pick the variation finish, associate the product, with children, build the children, click to be split, it built all those children. So you've got the LG Electronics white, LG Electronics stainless, LG Electronics black, blah, 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 right? And so we could do that programmatically and just assign that. And like I said, you can add as many variations as you want. Finish, color, number of doors, number of ovens, whatever that makes that particular stock keeping unit unique. Right? There we go.